guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, is today the day that Rusty either accepts his transplant or rejects it? I think we're going to find out. Let me show you what I got going on. So a little behind the scenes action. Last night I took a 3/16 or 1/4 inch piece of aluminum and made a little gauge holder. So I'm going to try to swap the gauges around. I ordered hopefully the correct length 4AN stainless line for this guy. So I won't actually have that hooked up today, but I mean, it's pretty easy to run a line and put that in. Other things we got to accomplish today is I still have not gotten the flywheel to flex plate or the torque converter to flex plate bolts in, so we got to do that. Do a bunch of tie wrapping underneath, zip tying for the cables and everything else that I ran under there to get those out of the way of anything so they don't get abraded. Also, bear with me today. I'm trying to use a new feature on my new GoPro. I'm not adept at using these newer GoPros at all. I'm just used to hitting a button and walking away. So I'm going to try to do some sort of a time lapse or time warp function. It may or may not have sound, but I will always have some music or something going on in the background. Bear with me as I try to learn how to use that and add that into the videos here for you guys. But other than that, I guess let's get started with the gauge here, and then we'll see how far we can get with all the other stuff I want to accomplish. Okay guys, here's where we're at. Got the hour meter and the transmission pressure gauge swapped out. I still have to run the stainless braided AN line from the gauge down to the transmission. That should be here later today. Oh, I went through the oil catch can here and cleaned out the breather filter. Was kind of clogged up on the inside. There's a little screen in there and some baffles and stuff. I cleaned all that up, and I'm hoping that'll fix this problem. If not, I'll have to run a separate line or a slobber tube down to the ground, one of the two. But for testing purposes, that should be okay. I got some biodiesel ready to go here to reprime Rusty. He's been asleep long enough. Here's all the nuts and bolts and brackets and leftover parts that I had from this extensive, drawn out transmission conversion. I'm actually really pleased with how well it sits in there. my fingers are crossed that I don't have any more transmission problems. I got some ATF ready to go, a bucket pump. I bought like 3 of these things. They're awesome. If you guys have never used one before, or trying to figure out a way to get, you know, transmission fluid into a transmission or a differential or any type of fluid, these are awesome. I'll leave a link down in the description, and you guys can pick one up too. Like I said, I've been using it for the fluid for the differential, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, pretty cool little doodad. Anyhow, the service manual says that the transmission with the shallow pan needs 15 quarts if it's been torn apart and rebuilt, and if you're just servicing it, which is basically what I did, it only needs 9 or 10 quarts. So we'll start off with that, see how everything works, check the levels on it. Heck, this thing may just explode and he may reject this transplant right off the get-go, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here. This is all prototype, experimental. I've never seen anybody put an Allison Isuzu combo in a Spryte. That's got to be one of the rarest conversions ever. So we'll see how this ends up going. Let's get some transmission fluid in it, get them primed, and we'll fire them up for the first time and see if this actually spins when I shift them into gear and whatnot, and then we'll go from there. Well, guys, here goes nothing. This is the first startup on Rusty since I've had them all torn apart. Fingers crossed. Rusty, please don't grenade yourself again. I have no idea what that squealing was at the beginning there. It makes me kind of nervous. I'm not sure where that noise was coming from. It sounded like a belt. Maybe the belt was slipping because I spilled some fluid on it or something. Yeah, that might have been it. Anyhow, I checked the transmission fluid level and it still looks normal in neutral, so I'm gonna have to shift it through the gears here and see where we end up with our fluid levels. Let me get the jump starter out of here. Oh, the reason I couldn't start it is because when I reinstalled the stop cable, I had it pulled. So no matter how hard you try, you're never going to get it started when that cable is pulled. Well, let's see what happens here when I shift through the gears. We got a problem with the RPM gauge. I must have to adjust it. It's not close enough to the teeth in that gear down there. It's reading correctly, it just doesn't read anything below 1200 RPM. So the transmission actually works really well. We got reverse, and then we got drive, and it'll shift through the gears here. You can hear the motor change noise. And then it downshifts when you let off the accelerator too. So. So it is working. A couple of tweaks and tunes, obviously, and then I'll have to check the fluid level again, because I probably filled up a bunch of nooks and crannies shifting it through all those gears there. But yeah, it works. That's a huge step towards getting Rusty back out there. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I do have to adjust that park and brake a little bit. It's not grabbing like it should. So I will make a consolidated effort to get that tuned in. But man, after all this work, I'm so excited that this is coming out the way it should. This little motor is pretty amazing. It's got a lot of power. I know it's noisy and everybody leaves that in the comment section, but you know what? I don't care. It was 300 bucks plus an Allison transmission. So I'm fine with it. Anyways, it sounds a lot louder on camera than it does in person. Whew. Man, that lifts a huge weight off my shoulders. I wasn't sure if any of that stuff was gonna work, and it actually works a lot better than I thought it would. I'm probably gonna adjust the modulator so that it shifts into fourth sooner, so I don't have to go up into those high RPMs to get it to shift. But yeah, I couldn't ask for a better first start, minus the cable, the shutoff cable that was stuck on. I thought, what the heck did I do that caused the snowcat to not start up? But it was just that cable. Anyhow, yeah, aside from that, that's probably going to be it for this episode, guys. If you like this episode, give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And you're going to want to stay tuned. We've got a couple things coming up here. One of them being, we got to fix the leaks on this differential again. I got to seal the lid, and then there's a couple of seals that are in here for the steering rod that are gone, and then I'm gonna redo all of these bolts in here because I've got a variety of lengths. I got like 2.5, 3 inch, 2 inch. I think what I'm gonna end up doing is putting some nut certs in there and then making all the bolts the same length. And then I still got to run a bead of RTV around that pinion but when I reinstall it, so that it's not leaking out those seals or those shims that are in there. The other thing that we're going to be doing is, of course, foam filling the intermediates. So I think I figured out an easy way to get those off without taking the tracks off. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. But I'll get those pulled off and get the drive shaft. That's the other thing, we're going to get the drive shaft pulled. It has to be lengthened considerably. But yeah, so awesome. I am extremely happy that this worked out. But other than that, I hope you guys are staying safe, taking care of each other, and as always, I'll catch you next time. See you later. Bye-bye.